Hello, good morning everyone. Today is January the 17th, 2025. This is Wes Fryer, and I want to talk about our media firewalls. Now, this isn't just wisdom with Wes. This is like wisdom that Wes and Shelley talked about on the drive to school today. The things that sometimes just percolate through my mind, and I end up getting to share with my spouse, and we talk about. All of us need media firewalls. What do I mean by that? What is a firewall? A firewall, speaking as a former director of technology for an independent school, a firewall is a device on a network which protects you. It holds back the fire, like a physical firewall in the context of firemen and fire people. Is there a politically correct way to say firemen? Firefighters. There you go. Firefighters know that you want firewalls. In fact, Charlotte Fire came and talked to our 7th graders, I think last week. It was a very good presentation. Do you know that you should keep the door to your bedroom closed at night? They had a pretty impactful demonstration that was showing, like, now, because most of our furniture isn't made of natural fibers. It's made of synthetic stuff that goes up in flames really quick. The average amount of time you have to get out of a house is 3 minutes. 3 minutes. 3. Crazy. But if you have the door to your bedroom closed, then it can keep the smoke out, and it can allow you to escape probably through a window, and it can save your life, okay? So just the door that you have to your bedroom can serve as a firewall. It's a protective barrier that, keeps you healthier in the extreme, saves your life. And digitally, we need firewalls. Firewalls are expensive. We had to buy a new firewall when I was the tech director at Cassidy School in Oklahoma City, and investigated a bunch and learned a lot about them. And, they're very, very important, because you don't want the pings, literally, these interrogatory messages, packets coming into your network. Ooh, is this port open? On what devices? How can we hack this? So many networks today, digital networks of organizations like schools, are compromised. And, there's, talk about sleeper agents. There's, software that's running on machines, but the firewall has failed. And so vulnerabilities have been identified, and in different ways, bad actors have been able to put their software in, and then those things, they can cause problems. It can lead to ransomware attacks. It can lead to the whole network coming down. Okay, I want to talk about personal media firewalls, and I'm kind of fleshing this idea out. I'm going to write a blog post about this too. I am concerned that starting next week, with the inauguration of President Trump for the second time, I think that the media landscape is going to just absolutely explode into chaos for a lot of things, okay? And this really shouldn't be a surprise to any of us. I mean, there's just crazy stuff now. Former President-elect Trump is talking about taking over Greenland, either by negotiation and purchase or by military force, taking over the Panama Canal. I guess we have millions, and I was reading today or yesterday on usafacts.com, which is Steve Ballmer's new project, where he wants folks to focus more on facts and data analytics, and that's great. One of my goals as a teacher is to help my kids learn more about data and represent data, yada yada yada. One of the things we looked at yesterday briefly was there's apparently 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. That's a lot of people. That needs to be dealt with. But now, the rumor is there's going to be these concentration camps, and undocumented people are going to be rounded up, and, that it's going to be crazy. So here's my thought, folks. All of us need a firewall. We need the ability to put up a firewall and say, wait a second, I don't want to think about that. Wait a minute. I've heard that. I'm going to let that piece of information sort of pass through my brain, but not stay in my brain. And I'm going to not be derailed. Okay. My dear mother, I'm going to tell a personal story. My dear mother had a very strong personality. We lost my mom 2 years ago, and I will never forget this one time where we had driven up from Oklahoma City, or maybe it was even from Lubbock. It's like a 12-hour drive from Lubbock. It could have been up from Lubbock. So we've been in the car for a long time, okay? And my parents were living in Manhattan, Kansas, and at the house where I grew up from 6th grade on, 15 Leavenworth. They don't live there anymore, but it's a lovely house, and we went in the side door, and my mother said something to me, and I immediately, oh my gosh, had this emotional response, got so angry, like, oh my goodness, it was crazy. My mother knew me so well, and I don't think she intended to do this, but she could say things in such a way at times, it really triggered me. And it caused me to have a very emotional, defensive, upset response. Walking into my parents' house after driving like 12 hours from Lubbock, Texas to come visit them with our family, like the last thing I wanted to do was walk in and be upset and angry. But anyway, there was a trigger that did that. So here's my thought. There are pieces of news. There are pieces of information. What makes today very difficult, there's a lot of things that make living today difficult, is that there are groups and individuals that are weaponizing information, that recognize that certain emotionally laden, provocative ideas, phrases, words, you've heard of clickbait before, these things can really set us off. They can get our attention, but they can also cause us to have an emotional response. So, one of the things that Shelly and I talked about today coming to school is that we're going to use the word firewall as a key word. I can think about people in my own life, some people I've actually worked for in the past, oh my gosh, that I really don't want to think about again, it was so negative. The experience of working with this human being, the impact that they had on me, the way that they changed me. I am not by nature an angry person. I'm not a person who tends to be upset. Thankfully, and when I was younger, this was different. Like, I don't cuss much. I don't use profanity much. I try not to. There have been in the past some situations where, for whatever reason, that caused me to respond in a really emotional way. Okay? It's good to be reflective, it's good to be aware, and it's good to plan in advance and to practice in advance how we're going to respond. This is part of the whole thing with Dr. Stephen Glenn, and they had school team training in the 1980s. Dr. Glenn wrote a book called Raising Self-Reliant Children in a Self-Indulgent World. And who did he write with? Jane? Haven't said that in a long time. I gave a persuasive speech about that as a college senior. But it had to do with trying to build resilience and capacity against self-destructive behavior, okay? It is a self-destructive behavior today to simply be open to the media environment, to the gossip environment at school, at work, at home, wherever we are, and just to let all those ideas like take over our brain, hack our brain. So, media firewalls. I'm thinking about that today. I hope you, wherever you happen to be in space and time, have a freaking great day. I hope this is an awesome, awesome day, because guess what? Here in Charlotte, North Carolina, as the sun comes up, it's 28 degrees. It's a beautiful day. And I'm excited because it's a 3-day weekend. And we are having the Martin Luther King holiday on Monday. And as a school teacher, there's a whole lot of aspects of being a teacher, but I love the fact that my wife and I get to come to work together. We get to serve together. We get to, have the same schedule, and we have a holiday. So be well, be joyful, fill your mind today with ideas that lift you up, and think about your media firewall, because I think we all need one. Take care.